Yo guys, what is going on? JPS back with another video, and today we're going to be watching top 10 things in British culture that are impossible to explain to non-Brits. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, consider joining the Patreon. First link in description for full show and movie reactions. Let's get it.
I love to laugh.
Toast, I've been meaning to talk to you.
You're talking to me now?
Yes, it's about the sense of humour issue.
I have a terrific sense of humour. It's just very dry.
Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things in British culture impossible to explain to non-Brits.
It's not quite nasal enough the way you're doing it, all right? You're not doing it the way he speaks. You're not doing it with the kind of... And you don't do the broken voice when he gets very emotional.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our
Cultural confusion that are unique to the small island we call home. What do you find weird about the UK? Let us know in the comments.
A lot.
Number 10. Marmite. A dark...
Never again, guys. Never again. And for you guys saying you put too much, I tried to put this thinnest... No. I might as well just dump a bunch of salt on a piece of bread.
brown savoury spread
It's my
invented
opinion.
in the late 19th century and made from yeast extract sludge left over from brewing beer. Sounds yummy. Well, actually, it doesn't. But Marmite fans know the very real joy it can bring when spread thinly on hot buttered toast, with a fresh brewed cup of tea to balance out the salty flavour.
Doesn't take long before new recruit Callum Howe finds another jar in a shocking state.
Oh no.
What's the matter?
It's baby one.
Okay, don't panic.
It's not been used in months.
Not all Brits feel the same though, and Marmite is famously marketed as a polarising food that you either love or hate. The proper stuff is only manufactured in the UK in the Burton-on-Trent Marmite factory. It's been there since 1902 and produces roughly 50 million jars in a year. And no, Australia, Vegemite is not as good. Number 9.
I still need to try Vegemite. It's interesting how Australia and the UK both have that, but then United States, we don't have an equivalent. We don't have something like that. I don't know.
Public schools are private schools.
Settle down.
You'll often hear it said that our country is run by public school boys. However, this doesn't mean what it might in other parts of the world. It doesn't imply that these politicians went to state-funded institutions and pulled themselves up by their bootstraps.
Yeah, that's the most confusing. We need to watch a video specifically on the school system. I recognize one of these actors from History Boys. If you want to watch that, I reacted to it on Patreon. First link in the description. But that is just so odd to me. The whole thing. I have no idea.
No more than you should be. Number 8. Insults are our love language.
Yep. Took me a
Terms of
while to get used to
affection and
this.
endearment are different the world over. In the UK, you know that someone feels comfortable around you if they insult you to your face. Or they might just be rude.
They're not jokes as such, they're just little things to say.
Yeah, it's probably fine in the hands of taxi drivers, or cockneys, or even Geordies.
When you've lived here long enough, you'll learn to tell the difference.
Friday night
may
dinner,
be
we
the
watched that
lowest
too.
form of wit, but it's also a great tool for masking social awkwardness. It stops conversations becoming too serious and fends off the Brits' greatest fear, earnestness. We spend so much time being generally polite, no one wants to put that wall up around their own friends and family.
You know what you are? You're a big bag of shit!
It doesn't mean we love each other any less, but where's the fun in life without some friendly teasing?
Nah, Mr. Morris that's not the British insulting humor. That's just an a-hole. But yeah, I know what he's saying.
Deadpan delivery required, of course. Number 7. Town names and their pronunciation. British place names are famously difficult for tourists to get their head around. Even native-born Brits will get tripped up at some point. The English language has a checkered history. You can blame most of the confusion on the Romans, Anglo-Saxons, and the Vikings. Also the French and the Celts. Being
Blame it on the
able
French.
to pronounce the name of Welsh village has even become something of a party piece.
Up the road from Llanfairpwll Gwyngyll go get a Quindrobwll and to Silio go. The temperature got to 21 Celsius.
When you take pronunciation out of the equation, however, there are still a lot of place names that sound like somebody might be having you on. From Fatty Head to Scratchy Bottom, there are oddly named towns in every corner of the British Isles. Number 6, the variety of accents.
Go 20 miles one way, new accent, 20 miles the other way, you're back. It's crazy.
It gets very loud indeed. It gets very specific. It's not quite nasal enough the way you're doing it, all right? You're not doing it the way he speaks.
Every country has its own differences in dialect and accent, even if it's difficult for an outsider to hear the nuance. But for such a small place, the UK does seem to have a disproportionate amount of variety. For a long time, a British accent was generally thought of as standard received pronunciation. But with the world opening up, regional accents are gradually becoming more familiar to foreign ears.
What I'm saying is that, like, if they had themselves proper jobs, you know, for a gun till, then they wouldn't date. You know, a lot of them's from broken homes.
Sorry, that was just a noise.
A Glasgow accent is very different from a Newcastle accent, which is different from a Birmingham accent.
You're a good man. And a good soldier.
People in the countryside don't sound the same as those in the town. Some people in Wales and Scotland even speak a whole different language. And
Wales has their own.
Nobody speaks like Dick Van Dyke, bless him.
Alright, I'll do it myself.
Number 5.
Now, Wales has their own universe. Forget language. They're doing their own thing over there.
Hot and cold taps.
Still don't agree with this. I know.
There are a few questions that non-natives tend to have about
I
British
know.
bathrooms. The no plugs thing is clearly a health and safety issue. The carpets are about keeping warm, but separate taps for hot and cold, they're a bit more difficult to justify. We do have our reasons, they're just not really relevant anymore. Historically, cold water came from the mains and was safe.
Watch Shaun of the Dead too.
To drink.
I'm quite all right, Barbara. I ran it under a cold tap.
Hot water was a later addition to UK households. When it did arrive, it was usually heated in a tank in the loft, therefore it wasn't as fresh. Modern bathrooms do sometimes have mixer taps, they've just not really caught on yet. Number 4, the tea obsession.
It is what it is, I guess.
Britain is not the only country to enjoy a nice cup of tea.
Do you know, I can't remember the last time I had a good cup of chai.
But we are quite singular in the way we take it. It's possibly only the Irish who also understand this one. For the real tea drinker, you must understand this is not just a casual beverage. It is usually an addiction, begun in late childhood. A cup of tea can be a consolation, an offer of friendship, or a gauge of how long a visitor is going to stay. When a British person says tea, they do not
everything.
mean chamomile or green or iced, they mean English breakfast. Usually with milk and often with sugar. And please, don't leave the tea bag in the cup.
Tea Earl Grey hot.
May or may not have done that last time I had tea. But it's just like, you guys use tea for everything. That just makes me think of Mrs. Doyle from Father Ted. I just don't really have time throughout the day to be able to sit down and, I don't know. It's maybe when I don't know, bro. It's just so, I really enjoy it though. Like, I enjoy having tea in a conversation, but it's like, things just move so fast, I don't really have time.
Metric or imperial? The UK officially adopted the metric system in 1965. That's over 50 years ago. It's what they use in Europe. It's what we learn in school. It's a much simpler way of working things out, as you're working with units of 10, not 12. So why do we still weigh ourselves in pounds and stone? Measure our height in feet and inches?
Miles per hour?
Travel in miles? Buy beer and milk in pints? The older generation will occasionally still tell you the temperature in Fahrenheit. Shouldn't we have acclimatized by now? No one under the age of 70 grew up under the imperial system. Good luck explaining this to anyone outside Britain, because it makes no sense at all. Number 2.
It doesn't,
baked beans
and you guys
for
agree
breakfast.
with that. It is what it is.
British food has never had a great reputation with the rest of the world. We traditionally choose hearty, comforting food, and that's okay. We need it in our climate. However, if there's one British dish that visitors really can't fathom, it's the humble beans on toast. Baked beans are a staple for the average Brit. Usually eaten as part of a fried breakfast or as a quick snacky tea, sometimes they're just what you need. They are eaten elsewhere in the world, but you'd be more likely to find them at a barbecue than on a breakfast table. No one else has taken this simple convenience food to their hearts quite like us.
Hey, I
Number
like him.
one.
I don't love beans on toast, but I like them. I'll have them with English breakfast for sure.
What is the country actually called? The United Kingdom, Great Britain, the British Isles. So which is it? Well, the British Isles is a geographical term. It describes a group of islands including Great Britain, the island of Ireland, the Isle of Man, the Scottish Isles, and the Scilly Isles. Great Britain is the biggest island in the group and is made up of England, Scotland, and Wales. The United Kingdom is a political union. Full name, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It includes England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The red, white, and blue flag is the Union flag, or Union Jack, and is composed of flags from England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, but not Wales. Got it?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this.
That made me, the last thing made me want to go back so badly. Just seeing the map brought me back to like the itinerary days, you know, taking a train down here from Edinburgh to York, then out to London. Oh man, I can't wait to come back. But yeah, that was 10 things in British culture impossible to explain to non-Brits. Just so much about you guys. You can watch the videos and learn about it, but at the end of the day, it has to be like a recurring interaction with different British people, recurring intake of information and culture and shows, and I still am not quite there yet. That just goes to show, like, there's this cultural divide is just so immense, because between the United States and Britain, we live our lives so similarly. We have such, I'm not going to say similar economies or similar political structures, but we are very similar. There's no doubting that. Yet, when you put two of us in a room, all hell breaks loose, because there's just, the cultural differences are just insane. I don't know, it's crazy. Really cool stuff, though. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one.